With this final lesson on ENSCAPE for RHINO, we're gonna finish our course. So we're gonna pick up from the last lesson where we set up an interior, and we're gonna talk about how we can export our work. We already saw that we can export images for the renderings and also videos. So in the previous lesson, we talked about how to create a video, and that's a lot of things to do with that tool. And also previously we worked on interiors, exteriors, product visualization, and etc, etc. So we explored everything we can do at the moment with ENSCAPE for RHINO, and I hope you enjoyed the course. And also, if you're interested, there are other courses in the channel, like for V-Ray, Twinmotion, and much more if you want to work with RHINO. Otherwise, there are other types of render engines. And also, if you want to continue in post-production, you can continue with videos and images, etc, etc. So we explore all the tools here in the home menu, and also we saw we can change the various settings for the view, and we have visual settings, and also we have settings for the window of ENSCAPE. So when you start ENSCAPE, you usually see a window. You can customize that, and this also will appear if you export an EXE file. So if you click on the little folder, you can start and you can apply, for example, a logo. And in my case, I have a logo that I can apply. So it's better if it is a PNG with a transparent background. And there you go. And then you can change the title of the windows. You can type anything you want, and you can see the preview down there, how it's gonna look. So here you can see the preview, and also you can change the main image, which is it needs to be full HD. So be careful on the resolution. And so I'm gonna apply, for example, here this one here that I created for ENSCAPE for RHINO. And also you can put a watermark, or like again a little logo, or perhaps a little text, whatever. And again, it's better if it is PNG. And this one shouldn't be too big, otherwise it will like cover up everything. So like this, you can see it's too big. So we can, and here you can choose the position with the little dots. So and you can see it's kind of covering everything. So I don't want to do that. I wanted something a little less um, overriding. And so let me take this one here, for example, which should be small, or let's try this. Okay, so you can see this is a little smaller, so I can put it in a corner, or actually I can just, not put it. If you do it, you can do it semi-transparent by saving the PNG. But anyway, so then you have other inputs here for the mouse speed, and a bunch of settings on the speed of the movement, the height of the viewer when you walk around, and so on. So all this stuff should be then visible when you run the application. And here you can also set a TV 3D visualization. So it's gonna like split the screen into half. So you can see here half and a half. And this is good if you have a TV screen that supports 3D, so you can visualize your project in 3D. And also this preference here lets you fix the landscape window when you open it up. It's gonna be overriding the CAD application. And that's it. So this is some visual settings, and some settings you can do on the welcome screen, welcome page. And then we have here different ways we can continue our work or export. So we already saw we can export one single screenshot and a batch rendering, so meaning that I can put a lot of renders in a queue. Also, you can go in V-Ray. So if you want, you can export the entire scene in V-Ray, and make some more complex and accurate renderings and settings. And then you have standalone. You have EXE standalone and web standalone. So if you export the web standalone, when it's finished, it's going to open up a page. And if it doesn't open, you can click on the little link button, and it's going to open up in your cloud, in your CAUS cloud. and it's going to show what you have exported, which is basically your project with your scene and everything. So if you remember at the beginning of the course, we saw another example made by Chaos, and in this case, this is our own scene that we created in the project for the course. And now we can navigate. Be careful because here we cannot use WASD, but we need to use the arrows. And then we have the E and the Q key to go up and down. So everything we already know. We can move faster. We can switch to fly and walk mode with the space bar key. And then we can move around with the left mouse. We can shift and right click to move the sun position. And in this case, I want to, kind of put it a little lower so we can see better. Well, this depends in the moment when you export which settings you were using. So also M for the minimap will show you where you are. And again, you cannot use the WASD, but the arrows. And also it's applying a depth of field effect. When you move around, you can see things get in focus and out of focus. And that's the rest of the house here, but I just deleted everything, so there is nothing here to see. So I'm just gonna head back to the living room and kitchen area. And you can see how cool it is when it like switches the depth of field. It looks pretty realistic. Also, we have motion blur here when you move around, etc., etc. So you can sign in into your account, and that will give you extra tools. You can change here also the perspective, and again, you cannot use WASD. And of course, this works also in the exteriors. So I can go here in the exterior and proceed my exploration of the scene. So it's pretty handy, again, if you need to show your project to a client or to a friend or to someone who is interested. And if you want to go inside your account, and also, of course, we can change day and night, etc. So the whole of the swimming pool just moved a little, but that's, I think, a problem of the 3D file. We can change visual style, rendering style. We can make it like looking like an architectural model or like a drawing using outlines. We can adjust the exposure using audio exposure, and also directly changing the exposure brightness and also the field of view. And again, if you sign in, then you can share using this share button. It's gonna let you send an email or just copy and paste a link. And here we have like general information on the file, and we can click on edit, and we can change the name here into something better than that, and add also a description. So this is something we already saw at the beginning, again, of the course, but it uses another project. And well, the same thing goes for every project you create. You can publish it and share it with other people, for example, colleagues or professor or friends. And so you're gonna have your Chaos Cloud, and in here you can save, you can store the projects that you create, and you can also see other people projects that that are shared with you, etc., etc. So you have a lot of tools in there you can explore. They're pretty easy to understand. And sometimes you can go full screen, so you can see better directly by showing in ENSCAPE your project, which is also perfectly fine. But if you want to like send it to someone that doesn't have ENSCAPE, or just you want to save it as a app, you can save it as an EXE file. So it's gonna save essentially a small app that you can run. So I'm gonna call this app, so ENSCAPE app, and it's gonna take a little bit, and then eventually it's gonna appear in your folder where you save it, and you just double click and you can open it up just like any other software. And you can copy and paste this anywhere. You can put it again in a zip file and send it to a friend with a mail, and they don't need to have ENSCAPE to open it, so they don't need to have Chaos. They just double click and open up the application, and there we go. So this is the web, sorry, the EXE application. And here we can use WASD. We can use, again, EQ to move around. We can switch with the spacebar, the fly and the walk mode. We can adjust the exposure manually or automatically, and explore. You can see also the animated trees, and we're gonna have animated water. This is a bench that I created in RHINO in another course, and so we can visualize perfectly all the other assets and props from the asset store. And continue. So back into ENSCAPE. I'm gonna move around here. If you see too too much brightness, again, it's a problem of exposure, so you can fix it by going into the visual settings and adjusting the exposure rate here. I'm sorry this is in Italian right now, but you should know by now all these tools that we already saw. So the various styles to change, and go into and see the exposure of the sun, and then you have contours or black lines around the the project, and also we have the environment back there, everything we've done so far in the course. And of course we already talked about the videos, so you can export images, you can export also videos, so just create the keyframes. And also you can create a static video, meaning that you're not going to move the camera, but for example you're just going to move the day and at the hour of the day. So here if I change the from like day to night, I can render kind of an animation with a time lapse of the exposure. Now I've just restarted ENSCAPE, and you can see it's showing me the logo that I put, the name and the background that I've chosen for this. So again, this is a way you can customize the the initial welcome screen. And again, back in, so screenshots, batch rendering, and EXE web, and then we have panoramic views or panorama 360, and you have it in two fashion, mono and stereo. So stereo is for 3D, mono is just one single image. So let's pick like an interior view that we saved before, because this is probably more interesting in a interior. And then you click here, and let's do mono because stereo is going to take like twice the time to render. So panoramic already takes a while, so let's go for panoramic. Choose your style, choose the visualization you want, and just wait, because it's going to take a little bit, but eventually you will start to see this bar going, uh, starting to work. And just be patient and wait a little bit more. I'm just gonna skip ahead here because you can see the outlines that I've chosen to put in here. I wanted to do something more, let's say, cartoonish in a way. When you put those black lines, they have that effect. Okay, once it's finished, you will find it in this folder here. So see users, the name of the user, documents, and ENSCAPE. This is where they will go, but that's not actually a usable file. It's just for ENSCAPE. So this is a kind of code file. If you open it, it's not gonna show you anything. It's gonna open like a web browser, but it's not gonna do anything. So that's only to show you where it's gonna be stored. But to see it, we can use a 360 panorama viewer. But this uses an image, doesn't use like strange type of files. It uses JPEG and PNG. We can drag it and drop it in there. And also you can do this in other application like social web apps and things like that, like Facebook, etc. So if you click on the little cloud in the toolbar in RHINO, you can also go here and see where the panorama is there. So you can see the web standalones and the panorama. It's right there. So we can download it as an image and we can put it in a 360 viewer, or we can upload it into our Chaos Cloud and we can also visualize it from there. So let's do both. I'm gonna save it in my ENSCAPE folder, save, and then also I'm going to upload it using the little cloud button there. I'm gonna upload it into my Chaos Cloud area so I can see it also from there. So you have, different options to visualize it. So let me show you here. I'm gonna go back to the 360. Just type, panoramic viewer or panorama viewer, should open up these viewers, and we also dedicated some videos about this topic, how to show panoramic views and open up this one here, this render stuff called, and drag and drop the image that you saved. And now you will see that the panoramic view. And there you go. So panorama is, you cannot move around, but you can just move your eyes, your sight around. So you can see the room. And also in Chaos Cloud, you have virtual tours. You can create virtual tours to be, more immersive and navigate around the entire project. So these are some of projects in my cloud, and now I have the ENSCAPE web standalones in one folder, the ENSCAPE panoramas into the other folder. So I can click here, enter the folder, and then click again and enter the panorama in Chaos Cloud. So that's another option. And also gives you the possibility to put in full screen, which is not bad. And also again, to use virtual reality if you have toggle VR, if you have like goggles. And that's it. So this is other options for exporting. Oh, let's see other options. So um, also, if you want to save an image, again, you can apply a style if you want. And also you have drawing style. So if you want to do something more artistic, and there are like other graphic design applications that do this, like Photoshop and similar. But here you can manage a little bit more all the different effects. And today we can also use AI, so we can, turn everything into anything. And that's another option to move on and to proceed your work in, post-production. So you can change the coloring, the color balance, the black and white effect, and much, much more if you use Photoshop or GIMP, which is the open source alternative. And so you just save and, choose your style, whatever it is, and just continue if you want into another software. So, and this is also for the solar exposure. And that's it. So they work on we saw this in the outdoor, but you can do it also in the indoor. Let's put back to nothing so we can see the simple render. And let's take a look at Veras, which is an AI application that is directly from Chaos. And so I'm just going to go forward, and this is going to be a trial. So you have a bunch of render that you can do to try out this application. So you can explore styles. You can go to the compose section, and also you can follow the various tips. And this is in English, by the way, so pretty comprehensive. And so here there are some prompts. So that's the spot when you put the prompt. We're gonna say that this is an interior, and I'm gonna leave everything as it is, but you can put some indications there. You can type your prompt. Positive prompt meaning the things you want to see, negative prompt the things you don't want to see, and you can be pretty precise with this, give a pretty detailed description of what you want to see in the render, and that's it. And what you don't want to see, you put it in the negative prompt just below. Also, you can decide how much you want to change or override the geometry of the render and the materials of the render, and in general how strong those changing prompts they have to be. So from 0 to 100%. And when you're ready, just hit the render button and just wait. So it's preparing the rendering, and that's the result, which is really outstanding, meaning that it's, looking like a photograph. It's really, really detailed, but it really changed a lot the initial idea. So depends on your preferences. So you may want to be careful on using this and not exaggerate too much with the prompt, and also like decrease the amount of the override. And then you can save. You can also see the original image, and we can see there is a lot of difference between the two. And again, you can save it here with the little button here. You can save it in your project folder. So I'm just gonna go this AI, and you can delete it. You can send it wherever. And also there are other tools here. So for example, you can draw like a shape and guide the artificial intelligence with more accurate tools. So I'm gonna leave those to you and just go there and explore. So you can draw shapes from here, and then you can just explore. Now this one here instead is gonna give you like basic pictures. Now I'm gonna put the camera in the outdoor so we can also test the AI in the outdoor. And I'm gonna do something extreme now. So I wanna change how much I wanna see how much I can change here. So let me adjust the sun, and there we go. So once you're ready, just open up Veras again and give it a try. And there you go. So this is the outdoor, and I'm not gonna use any prompt. I'm just gonna go here and select one of these images. And among these, you also have again like ink and pen, so something more like a drawing. So you can create cartoon effects, and you can change also the resolution down there. Now it's kind of squared, like for social media or something, but you can change the resolution down all the way down there. And again, we can put some filters, we can put some prompts. I'm just gonna like push the override all the way up, and probably would be nice to see what happens if I push them all the way down, but I'm just gonna do this test with you, and you can proceed by yourself because it's so easy that it's just like a game. And look at this, so it's completely different from the original. So well, it's all written in the prompt: cabin in the woods, and etc etc, and we didn't do a cabin, so it's completely overriding our idea. So be careful with that override strength and all the settings here. Once you finish, you can share, you can save in your computer, you can delete, or you can proceed again to edit this furthermore, and perhaps do more and more examples. Maybe you want to restrict the strength in an area, and that's it. So that's the last one is going to be the enhancer, AI enhancer, which I don't know if I am using it correctly, but it's like creating 360 panorama with this. I expected something more straightforward, and my advice is that you also find other enhancer on the web that you can just simply upload the image and enhance the image. But that's supposed to be something similar. Maybe it's under development, so probably we're gonna see more about AIs in any software, and of course also in ENSCAPE in the future. So you do this, you announce, you can view this in the cloud, and so just click there and go into cloud, and you can see it looks like a 360 image. So I need to zoom a lot if to not to see the problems of the spherical image of the panorama. And you can see it's right there. Now it looks, oh, actually it's enhancing, still enhancing, so it's still working, but in general it looks like a panorama. So I think this is intended for panorama right now, but I think they could expand this functionality also to standard renderings to improve, like with a single click, just make the render more realistic. And now it's ready, but let's open it up, let's view, and there you go. So you can see it's no, that it's just removing the phases for some reason. So I don't know how this one here is it's actually, if it's actually working at its best at the moment. We can see some improvements, but overall it's kind of not useful at this moment. So probably again there's something we need to wait for that to be more performing. But it's good to know that we have AIs also in Chaos, directly in Chaos Cloud and in the application. But there are a lot of other AIs you can use, outside ENSCAPE. And then we have Impact, but it requires an additional license. So that's the last thing we can see. We basically saw everything we need to see in ENSCAPE. And so if you want to go forward, Well, go and check in the channel. We have a lot of playlists on video editing, graphic design, etc., etc. You can check our playlist, or you can check in the homepage by category. And so these are we have Italian version and English version, and so you have like apps for editing and video effects, and then you have graphic design, post-production. You can create materials and 3D painting with Substance. You can also use other render engines like Vantage or Twinmotion, Unreal 5, and much, much more. So you find everything in the channel. So I hope you enjoyed this video course. If you did, subscribe to the channel to stay updated for more videos and more courses. Join the channel as a supporter if you want to support us. And that's it. So thanks again, and see you in the next video course.